All right, let's talk about storytelling here. It's so critical to be able to tell a good story in the interview process. This is really what an interview is made up of. It's just a bunch of little stories for you to demonstrate that you have the skills, the knowledge, the traits, the interest in the role that are going to make you a great hire. So let's dig into how we do this. We're going to break down, kind of how to build out a good story structure, and then we'll look at one example here. So the number one thing to remember during storytelling is to keep it concise. Nobody wants you to ramble for 5 or 10 minutes on a story. Keep it 60 to 90 seconds max. Anything after that, you're really just losing the attention of the person you're talking to. So how do we stick to that 60, 90-second mark? It really starts with a good structure here. And a pretty simple structure to follow is starting with the background, setting kind of like the plot, the premise of the story, talk about any characters that are in the story, go into a little bit about the conflict that you are facing, the challenge that you have had to overcome. Talk about the action that you took to overcome that conflict or that challenge. And then what was the resolution? What was the outcome here? And what did you learn? What did you take away from that challenge or that story? So a couple of things here. Again, you've got a lot of points to hit: background, conflict, characters, actions, resolutions, themes. So you got to keep it short and sweet. The best way to do this is to practice these stories ahead of time. Write out your stories, type them out, say them out loud, record yourself, time yourself. I can't stress that enough. You really want to make sure you're within that 60 to 90-second mark. Say these out loud, practice with a friend. The more comfortable you get in the storytelling mode, the easier it's going to be when you go into the interview process. So let's look at an example here. How do we do this? How do we take a question and then build it into a story, that is going to hold the attention of the person that we're talking to? So if the question is something like, tell me about a time that you had to meet tight deadlines, here's how I'd answer that. I would say something like, look, it was December, my junior year in college. In the business school, I was in a group project in my entrepreneurship class. We actually had to create a 30-page business plan for a new idea and then pitch that plan to real life investors who would vote on our best ideas. And I was in a group of four. So three other classmates who, weren't really as motivated as I was to get a good grade in the class. It was a very stressful time because finals were also going on. It was December. I was also performing in the Nutcracker every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So very stressful for me. This group project was definitely very challenging because the folks weren't as motivated, but one of our group members also had to take time off. He was sick. So it was really just me and two other group members who didn't really care that much to get the project done. So there was no way I could do it all myself. I actually ended up, you know, project managing this project. I took about 50% of the work on me and then assigned out the remaining parts to other group members. I set up daily syncs to make sure that we were in check on the project. We set up rehearsal times to practice our pitch. And it worked out. Look, we ended up getting second in the pitch competition out of 20 groups. So very happy about that. And what I learned is, whenever I'm working in a group and facing these types of deadlines, it's really helpful to have a central leader to help kind of organize and hold the team accountable throughout the project. So boom, that was about a minute and 20 seconds, maybe a little bit on the long side. If I'm being critical here, I'd probably cut out maybe some of the background. Maybe they don't really care if it was December or not. Maybe they don't care too much if I was like performing also in the Nutcracker. So this is where it really helps to write this out, because you can look at how long it's taking you to get through this story, and then you can go back and you can cut out stuff. How do I make this shorter? How do I make it sweeter? Maybe I want to spend a little bit more time on the resolution or, the theme. But I thought, I did a good job focusing on the conflict and the action that I took to actually bring the result around. So there you have it. That's how you kind of take any situation in your life and turn it into a nice little story.